And we're set.
According to the latest available data from the U.S. Department of Transportation, inattentive driving accounts for 6.4% of crash fatalities in 2000. Of all driver distractions, cell phone use is listed in 80% U.S. vehicle related. Today we're going to talk about the main causes of driver distraction, the all too real consequences often resulting from those distractions, and present state and federal initiatives to curb the problem. So, does it really matter whether you take a few seconds to run a comb through your hair or dial a friend's phone number while you drive down the road? The answer is yes. Yes, it does. The causes of driver distractions are many, and really the list is endless. From dialing a handheld cell phone to conversing on a cell phone, operating a PDA or reaching for it, eating, drinking, smoking, daydreaming, rubbernecking, applying makeup, combing hair or brushing teeth, removing or putting on jewelry, just to name a few. We've all seen it. People engage in secondary tasks while they drive cars and trucks on our country's public roads and highways. Driver inattentiveness is the leading cause of vehicle crashes. The situation only seems to be getting worse. Studies conducted for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration demonstrated a direct relationship between driver inattentiveness and automobile accidents. Just glancing away from the roadway for more than 2 seconds can increase your risk of a crash or near crash at least twofold over normal attentive driving. Engaging in more complex visual or manual tasks while driving can raise your crash risk even higher. So, it goes without saying that driving while drowsy is always dangerous and increases the risk. Remember, however, not every glance away from the road ahead is dangerous. Quick looks into a rear view or side view mirror to check for approaching vehicles or other obstructions can actually decrease your risk of a crash. The motor vehicle driver who periodically scans his surroundings, specifically looking for potential hazards, is the safest driver. Drivers have been primping, smoking, and eating behind the wheel ever since motor vehicles first took the roads over a century ago. While there's no fuss over inattentive driving now, well, because within the last 2 decades, cell phone use has increased to the point where there are now over 250 million cell phone users in the United States. Many of these subscribers regularly use their cell phones while they drive. After all, most everyone wants to stay in touch with family and friends. Teenage and young drivers are especially addicted to the new technology. They keep their ears glued to cell phones and spend a lot of time text messaging friends. Unfortunately, all of this friendly communication translates into driver inattentiveness, and it comes at a price. A 2007 nationwide mutual insurance company survey of 1,200 drivers found that 73% of those drivers surveyed routinely talk on cell phones while driving. This high incident of cell phone traffic means there are more distracted drivers traveling our highways. The more inattentive drivers there are on the road, more frequently these drivers will be hazards to other drivers. Drivers who reach for falling objects such as a cup of coffee, who open a glove compartment, are actually at greater risk of causing a crash. Nonetheless, driving while you're conducting a cell phone conversation is risky business. A recent University of Utah report declared that the impaired level of a person driving while talking on the cell phone is comparable to that of motorists while driving while intoxicated on illegal alcohol. It's tempting to conclude that carrying on a cell phone conversation is safer than handling and dialing a cell phone. After all, once the connection is made and the conversation begins, you'll be keeping your eyes on the road ahead, aren't you? The answer to this question is no. Studies show that it is not just the physical action of reaching the phone and dialing that raises the risk of involvement in a crash. It's actually the mental concentration that comes with both listening and talking to someone over the phone. When you're absorbed in a phone chat with a friend, your mind is focused on the conversation, not the road. Despite this reality, however, states are taking action to ban telephone cell phones. At present, these states are in the minority, though, and include New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Washington, D.C., just to name a few. Although more and more state legislations are taking action to curb these cell phone conversations by drivers, few states ban cell phone use altogether. Where there are bans, certain professions or jurisdictions are sometimes exempted. Nevertheless, more and more states are identifying specific categories of drivers or special regulations. Of course, it's not only cell phone conversations that put motorists and others at risk. When a driver is drawn into a conversation with his passengers, for example, his ability to quickly respond and react to hazards on the road is significantly impaired. He is likely to brake more slowly and to follow other vehicles too closely. The bottom line is that, although cell phone use is a common driver distraction which raises the risk of an accident, drivers who habitually engage in other inattentive-related activities 1, never decide whether or not to engage in any distracting activity based strictly on what you perceive to be the level of danger. In other words, don't reassure yourself by thinking it isn't dangerous to make a hands-free cell phone call or to eat a cheeseburger while behind the wheel. Remember that a few seconds of a driver's inattentiveness, for whatever reason, can lead just as easily to a collision with a Mack truck as it can lead to a crash with a Dodge Neo. It simply depends on whether the vehicle's in your vicinity at the moment you become distracted. In the end, it is the severity of the injuries you and others sustain in the crash that really matter, not the degree of danger you may attach to the diversion. So, stay safe,